All right, State's obviously big and physical, very good team. Tolu Smith, they've had him out for part of the league play. They've had him back the last couple games against Arkansas and against Tennessee. Um, he's a load. He had 24 and 11 on us last year. He was 10 of 11 from the field and 4 of 5 from the free throw line. He absolutely whipped us last year. Very, very good player. Garrison Brooks, who they've added, tremendous player from North Carolina. Well, he was at the University of North Carolina. He's from Alabama, but tremendous player. And those guys inside just do a great job playing physical. They're always around the rim, which allows them to offensive rebound. If we don't defensive rebound any better, it's going to be very, very long night. Iverson Molinar, second leading scorer in the league, their guard to J.D. Note. We've done a very, very poor job against guarding Note. We didn't do a great job on Pippen, who's third in the league. So we certainly need to give some attention, a lot of attention to Molinar and do a much better job on him. So be a big, big challenge for us. They're ahead of us in the standings. They're somebody we're trying to track down as we come down the stretch here. So we need to play well and certainly defensive rebound and not turn the ball over as much.
Hey, Coach. Yeah, you mentioned Iverson Molinar, obviously one of the better guards in the country. Just how would you compare and contrast his game to the other guards that you mentioned in the SEC?
Well, I mean, he shoots. He does a great job getting to the rim in transition. He's very, very efficient from the mid-range. He's able to make a bunch of shots from like right around the SEC logo. He's able to stop on a dime. He's got very, very good, very, very good pace to him. He's just a really, really good player. He's dynamic. He's a dynamic player and can score a lot of different ways and can do a lot of different things. So he's been scoring at a. I think he's the only guard in the SEC that scored. I think he's the only player in the SEC that scored over. He scored in double digits every game. I think that's statistically correct. And so he's just been very, very consistent, and he can score in a lot of different ways. He can get to his spots very well.
What did you see in those 22 turnovers? Any of that be attributed to the addition of Pinson coming back and figuring it out?
We just try. We're getting stronger with the ball. We've gotten better, in terms of our being stronger with the ball. We haven't gotten much better with our decision making. The turnovers now. Earlier we had a lot of turnovers where we weren't very strong with the ball and we were just, weak with our pivoting. And we've got a lot of. I've seen some real improvement there. Now we've got to clean up the decision making. Our decision making is not where it needs to be.
You keep mentioning defensive rebounding. What's the best game you've had this year in conference at least, where you rebounded? You think at a good level?
Maybe Kentucky. I think we did a decent job there, but we've been pretty poor. We've been pretty consistently poor most of the year. Well, there's a couple different reasons. I actually have a study on it done this afternoon. Chambers is putting all that together for me. I'll have it after practice. But I have my theories, but I don't want to go on my theories. I want to go on facts. So he's broken down every offensive rebound we've given up in SEC play. He has them categorized for me, and I'm going to see if there's any large category that maybe we can knock out. If there's something that's a bulk of them, that's something that we can knock out. I have a theory, but I want to see. I asked him to do it, and I told my theory to Coach Armstrong, and then we'll see if my theory's right.
I guess just in between the turnovers, what did you like about the offense? It looked like you guys.
Well,
were
we still
good
scored
shots.
78 points. We moved the ball a lot better. The ball didn't stick nearly as much. It was our highest assist game, I think, in a couple of weeks. So we were sharing the ball, moving the ball. We took better shots. All that stuff is a byproduct of. You've got to be able to. I always talk about you got to knock the first domino down, and then they all kind of go after that. So you got to knock the first one down to put the defense in rotation, and then just keep them rotating. We've had problems getting them in rotation to begin with, and so we hadn't been able to get them in rotation. Well, we were able to get A&M in rotation, and then they were behind the play, and and then we could search out and seek out the better shot.
Is that something that helps with like pace? You know, with having X out there and just kind of the pace of
That helps with pace, and when you switch and you can get by somebody on a switch and create the rotation. There's a lot of different ways to create rotation, but yeah, you want to put the defense in rotation as quickly and as early as possible, and we hadn't been able to do that as well as we needed to.
I think like State has like 3 or 4 transfers in the starting lineup. Four, yeah.
Moore's from NC State, Jeffries from Memphis, Brooks from North Carolina, and Tolu Smith is from Western Kentucky. And then they've got Javion Davis was Javion Fleming at Alabama, but he's a transfer from Alabama off their bench. So Molinar they got out of high school, Garcia they got out of high school, Matthews they got out of high school as well, and Rocket Watts, who comes off their bench, is a transfer from Michigan State. So they have quite a few transfers.
There's so many transfers in this league, and there's so much parity. Is it due to the transfers and teams trying to get chemistry? Because everybody is bunched
Well, I
up together.
think
except for a couple.
everybody's, I was actually talking to Coach Williams about it before the game with A&M. I mean, it's people don't want to hear this, but there's a lot of teams that are, there's a couple of elite teams in our league that are very, very, very good. But then there's a bunch of us that are all about, there's not much difference, and we're just going to keep beating up on each other. And that's just the way it is. The league is extremely, extremely tough. It's extremely, extremely challenging. Everybody is good in their own way, and everybody's got good players, and so teams are going to beat each other up. That's just the way it's going to work. There's going to be a cluster of teams that finish between basically 8-10 and 10-8. I mean, that's a majority of the league's going to finish between those 3 records, and so it's just digging out as many of them as you can. That's why we got to quit giving them away at home. We've given away 2 at home. We've lost 2 at home, and you can't. This is a huge game for us because you can't keep giving them away at home and expect to come out with a decent record.
Coach, we've talked a lot about Pinson's impact just on the team as a whole. Is there a stat that y'all look at that really does a good job of measuring his impact on both offense and defense? I'm just curious. Is there a stat that y'all have?
My eyes. No. He does a lot of stuff that you can't. It's not. I think I don't know if I said this the other day, but it's not what he does for us. It's the bad situations he keeps us out of. Like there's stuff that you can't. There's stuff that you can't quantify that he does. It's the bad situations that he keeps us out of, and it's the good situations that he gets other guys where they need to be. It's no secret when Pinson plays, like Eason scores 20 some odd plus a game. Like there's a reason. All that goes together. It's not just, it's Eason's in better spots. Pinson gets him in the right spots. Pinson gets him the ball in the right spots, and then he's able to, he's a great player, so he's able to take over and make things happen. But then he also keeps us out of a lot of mistakes. He's able to say, all right, they've scored 2 straight baskets. Let's pull it out. Let's run some offense. Let's not take a quick shot. Let's try to get fouled. Let's try to, there's a lot of intricacies of the game that he understands that really help us. So it's not like one stat that he does great where you're like, oh, that's perfect. But it's that combined with what I would call upstream thinking, where you can't quantify the bad stuff he keeps us out of.
You said that on the radio show.
That's where I said it. I knew I'd said it somewhere. I just couldn't
Trapping the
remember where.
5. You went to look. You use that.
Only you and Sheldon.
That's right.
Were listening.
We were listening. Is your theory that it's energy and effort? Oh, actually, I have 2. So
What?
on rebounding.
No, that's not my theory.
Okay. And then how did Xavier respond after?
He's been fine.
One more on defensive rebounding. You said the other no. So I'm serious. The other night you said you didn't want to harp on it Tuesday night because of the win.
Yeah, I've been harping on it since then.
I was getting ready to say,
yes.
was yesterday a little bit different?
I've been harping on it since then, but I wasn't gonna. We hadn't won in a while. We weren't gonna get upset over winning, so we were gonna enjoy the win, and we had a good ride back, and everybody was excited. And then we've certainly got to get that corrected. We've dropped. Going into SEC play, we were like 62nd in the country in defensive rebounding. We dropped to 225th. That is a plummet. So we've got to get better defensive rebounding. Our offensive rebounding, even in the leagues, dropped in the last week. We were 3rd in the league in offensive rebounding. We're 6th in the league today. Like, we've got to do a better job on the offensive glass as well. And that goes with the turnovers. We've got to quit turning the ball over so we can get more opportunities on the rim. And it's just we have 180 some odd what do we have? 182 turnovers, 183 turnovers in SEC play, which is just astounding that we've even won any games with that many turnovers. We're averaging like one shy of 17 turnovers a game right now in SEC play. I'd be thrilled to get it under 14 or 15 a game would be great. Give us a better shot to win a couple.
What did you see in Pinson when you went and got him? Because I know at Missouri it didn't end well for him. He was benched in his last game, the NCAA tournament, in the final minutes. I mean, what made you feel that he could fit here, and what did he change to fit here?
I think I went into that the other day about how much he sacrificed. But, look, I knew a lot of people in Chicago that knew him very, very well, and I knew a lot of their folks, and they vouched for him, or people I trusted. And, you got to look at the whole situation. You got to look at the whole, the entire picture. That's just a snapshot of what his career was at Missouri. He had a lot of good wins. He had a lot of good things that happened at Missouri as well. And the main thing is we were looking for a steady hand that had proven that they could play and be good at this level. And he was certainly that.
Coach, coming down the stretch with 7 games left, what's one thing you think you look forward to that your players are developing as they go into the tournament?
Oh, well, hopefully we're developing better habits on the defensive glass, not turning the ball over as much. That'd be great. But those are 2 areas that we definitely need to improve and need to get better in. So hopefully our guys will improve in those areas. You're at your quota of questions.
Yeah, well, these are more like not really. There's more off mic, so if anybody has anything, I gladly defer. When I grew up, it was always follow your shot. Is that not a thing anymore?
It depends on who shoots.
Okay.
You got to have guys back for transition defense. So your point guards and 2s all the time can't just follow their shot, or you're going to be giving up dunks and layups on the other end. So depends on where you shoot and how all that goes. No questions from Jacques today? You asleep? You tired? You out of it?
I was interested.
Nothing from Mr. Joseph either. Huh?
I got you after him.
No, we don't have to. I'm just.
You enjoy the women's game last night?
It's good.
Had a good time.
Good game. Glad we held on.
I was at the coach's show. You were talking about greatest games in
Oh,
the
that's
team.
right. You were there too. I'm sorry. I should have included you as listening. I'm sorry. Sorry. The only 3.
Michael wasn't there, but he was listening. You were talking about the greatest games in the history of the PMAC, and you thought that the '86 game should have gotten a nod over the Loyola.
I just thought because it meant more. It meant more. It was in the NCAA tournament. There just had a little more meaning to it. I know the Marymount game won, right, Kent? Couldn't get enough votes for that Memphis game in a night. Couldn't swing enough votes.
You already got asked about things going down the stretch, but with X coming back, how much of a revitalization is it that, okay, we're finally healthy with a lineup?
Hope so. Hopefully it gives us some confidence, gives us some pop as we, as we come down the stretch here that we're going to be, that we're going to be in good shape. And we're going to be, kind of back where we started, and we can finish strong as we move forward here. All right. Cobble, any more questions? You good? All right.